Well, I think the sessions have been very interesting. I want to thank the organizers for calling. I just want to say in summary that after the May 16th, certainly there is a change, and by May 26th, we will see more changes. Therefore, I thought we should just focus on what is going to be the future in terms of our country and the policies as they are emerging, rather than looking at all over the kind of issues which have been discussed in many other fora. I have therefore called it Bharat purposefully because it is not really India, and probably English channels are now getting used to broadcasting Hindi interviews. So we need to get used to a new approach, and I'm sure that the 26 ministries which are going to make presentations will also be grappling with this change, where the rural India will come to focus more and more. One of the things which I want to underline is that education has been just defined by the moderator of the session. But if you really look at, education had two important components. One was knowledge, the other was skills. Over the period which we discussed in terms of the change in digital technologies, internet technologies, IT, ICT, knowledge has become ubiquitous and available at the click of a mouse. And the skill is not necessarily available in that form. So the importance which we gave in the last 60 years or more, or even before that, as India as a 5,000-year-old civilization, to knowledge will undergo dramatic change as the component of education of skills being the most demonstrable aspect of education. And every knowledge which you have acquired will be tested with the front end of skills. And most of the jobs will be defined, I am told, as I will show you just a few slides because I am telling you the summary so that it does not take your time. More than 70% of the jobs will be testing the skills of the people. Now, unfortunately, as the education was focused more on knowledge-based education, and the skill-based education became acceptable in policy discussion rooms only in the last 4 or 5 years, much of India's opportunities of tacit skills, innate skills, legacy skills, skills of the population were lost. There are many estimates to that. And across the country, India is a country which is full of languishing crafts and languishing skills. In 2010, when I made a presentation, I had told that even if India wants to move on to the innovation train, there will be less and less skilled hands to actually realize what you want to do. Having been director of National Institute of Design, Ahmedabad, for 9 years, I can tell you honestly, even to make a model, a clay model of a car, in our clay modeling studio, we had to really get to combing the entire India to get 1 or 2 people who could teach the students on that. Skills have become so scarce in India. And for a country which has got the demographic dividend which everybody speaks about, and as it begins to imitate Japan by 2035, by becoming more like a kite, the chance is just about now 20 years left in terms of making use of this dividend. And if that population is going to be without skills, obviously we are going to miss out greatly on India's development. The Indian education sector has not really understood the need for looking at skills at every level. And you can see that Nokia, which is facing a closure, this news item which came in Business Standard, which says that these young people who were taken to a job just after schools were given some kind of skills, and now they are going to be unemployed and they have no skills to survive. I remember an animation film made by an NID student showing a person from rural Andhra Pradesh coming to Hyderabad. and he thought he would be able to make a life as a rickshaw puller because he didn't have any other skills. And on the first day when he borrowed money and put together the rickshaw and went into the street, he was arrested because they said that in this particular road, it is not allowed. And finally, the story goes to say that he became a balloon seller. Around India Gate, you can see large number of such people. Many places in the country have this kind of displaced people who had some skills but not relevant anymore. So therefore, it is not about skilling and vocational education. It is about reskilling, upskilling, and new skilling. And all this become important for a country with this dimension of demographics. And here, for example, the policy thrust as it appeared in newspapers looked to be that there will be a national skill mission. There will be probably a kind of a new contour for all these agencies which are at the moment operating. National Skill Development Agency, National Skill Development Corporation, the AICTE, the UGC, NCVT, DGET, all of them. Today also when I am chairman of the Mentor Council appointed by the DGET NCVT for 2 sectors, textile and apparel. When I sit in that meeting, I asked the chairperson, the labor secretary, what will happen to the sectoral skill council by the NSDC? I asked in a large meeting in Pusa Road. They said that, look, those are probably to make some NOS, but here the vocational education will be managed by NCVT and DGT. Mentor councils will now do the job. AICT, if you ask them what happened to the SKP, Skill and Knowledge Provider System, recently a Jaipur-based university said that it is not required to get the UGC permission even, provided you are not taking any money from UGC up to 1.8 crores or something. You can start the BVOC. So this problem is that we have created the systems, but the systems have no plug and play. And people are really confused as to where to go. And I hope one of the policy imperatives, therefore, is bringing some sanity and clarity to the policy perspectives on which the education sector should evolve, especially the vocational and skill education. Now, as I have told you, most of the jobs will be tested based on 70% skills. And if you look at where are the jobs going to come from, 2 sectors stand out. One is the infrastructure sector, which is going to produce about 103 million jobs. There will be a skill shortage. And the textile and apparel sector, look at the situation, 26.2 million in terms of the employment skill gap. Now, if you look at the emails I am receiving from Udyog Bihar, every day at least 4 or 5 factories are up for sale. Where is this jobs going to come from? We had several meetings with the National Manufacturing Competitiveness Council. The Competitiveness Council has said that India's manufacturing to GDP should grow to 25%. But currently it is still stagnant at 15 to 16%. The total number of jobs created by the manufacturing sector in the last decade, as you see in this graph, was just about 61,000 people. The total growth was about 2.37, if I remember correctly. So where are these jobs going to come from? And somebody mentioned in one of the informal sector and where people are going to find jobs, small and medium sector, etc. Agriculture sector has stagnated, as you know, 11 to 12%. And service sector has grown, but none of the vocational education systems nor the university education system is aligned with the service sector expectations. So how do we actually move forward? Now, if you really look at, skill has become a buzzword, but in terms of the policy foundation and the kind of structure on which it should evolve are actually facing considerable convulsions. Every scheme has become something of a Nariga type. You go with a bulldozer, take the work of 200 people in no time, make false vouchers and claim money as if 200 people have been employed. If skill sector is going to operate in the current form, going after getting some particular benefits from various organizations, we have more disaster waiting for us than all the activities which have gone before, because knowledge was not so harmful. Because people had some BA degree, humanities, and they did not get necessarily the jobs. But the skill, if a plumber or electrician or somebody does not know the job, or a paramedic who does not know the job, you can be in real trouble. Now, therefore, what we need to look at is, we need to change the entire approach to this understanding of the skill training. I'll conclude in a couple of seconds, in a couple of minutes. We need to understand that we have moved on into this new era, and people need to really look at the skills which are required for the new jobs. And that is often very difficult to assume and understand. For example, if you understood that there is a waiter who is going to come and take orders from you, as somebody said, now it is going to be, even before you left the house, you have already fed in, and the table number, it comes on to your table through an iPad, and you have already got one person's job gone. So the issue is, even if you provide the skills, what are the kind of jobs which are going to exist in the digital era, and how are you going to how are you going to actually train people? Apparel sector is no different. We have been trying to create a system by which we go from the operator level to the topmost level in a pyramidal structure. And to some extent, the Ministry of Textiles, to that extent, has created a system by which large number of rural people, this one industry, which is non-polluting, with just a sewing machine, almost 6 to 7 people can get jobs in a family. From 18 to 45 or 50, people can work in the job very easily. And it is possible for rural areas to, have this kind of, manufacturing facilities without much power, even if electricity is not really available, with even some very minimal generators you can run this. But unfortunately, people have not been giving this attention. And this is one of the stories which we have been trying to tell people. The Indian government and the states should focus on textile and apparel value chain to produce more manufacturing related jobs. To conclude, I would say that, we need to, as somebody said in the morning also, one of the presentations, the perception of the blue-collar jobs, the perception of the caste system in the jobs need to go. And I'm very happy this Hunar Bas, initiative of the Government of India. I'm sure you must be watching like the Satyameva Jayade. There is at 11 o'clock every Sunday now. And this Sunday, I think it is going to be an automobile sector. And on apparel sector is on June 1st at 11 o'clock. Also the World Skill Competition, which is coming up in Brazil.
So sorry, I have to interrupt you. I'm timekeeper today.
No, I'm concluding. So we need to really change the perception and improve the image of these sectors and the kind of jobs which we are offering, so that people are able to really take up to this kind of jobs. Otherwise, you will not find. Many of the people are not interested to you ask any engineering graduate or any of the college going children, whether they would like to be in a manufacturing job, they are not interested. If you are all going to be in some other kind of job, which are going to be those jobs, which are non-automated, which are really going to use a human being, those jobs are shrinking. And if our country needs to survive, it needs to produce jobs. It's a huge population. And the skills of various kinds, if we do not provide, we have a very bleak future. So all the discussions should surround in not only about skills, but also where the jobs are going to come from. That's the point which I wanted to tell you. Because I didn't hear any discussion, for the last few hours, about the skills, about education. Everybody has been talking. Where the jobs are going to come from, very little information. And therefore, this linkage between the jobs and the employment, the employer and the employee, the connecting link between the job-seeking youth and the employment-providing industry or agriculture or service, which we need to become stronger. And that is the point which I wanted to emphasize. Thank you.